gamers, what's good? So Naturia is finally back. This brand new set introduced the Horus engine, which is usable in so many decks and makes so many decks now playable and potentially rogue or even better than rogue. So it's a really exciting time for trying new decks in Master Duel. This is the first one I had to jump into, and I don't know if this is going to be the most popular pick, but I know this deck did really well in the OCG at the time of Horus's release, and I'm a massive fan of Naturia. If you guys remember back when Naturia Runic was a good deck, that was like my favorite deck in the game, and to this day I still think that might have been my favorite deck to play ever in Yu-Gi-Oh! It was just so fun. So I'm super happy to get back into playing Naturia. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is going to be like a top tier, like tier 1 deck. I get more of like a tier 3 feeling from it, like slightly better than Rogue. And keep in mind, I'm the kind of guy that puts like super heavy Samurai in Rogue, right? So when I say like slightly better than Rogue, I mean really good. So we're just going to go look at my match history here before I show you the deck list, just to give you an idea, you know. So I'm on a 5-game win streak right now. Before that, I took a loss. I had a 4-game win streak. I took a loss and had a win. And this is around where I changed my deck. So you can see a couple of losses here. I was running some pretty weird ratios with my Horus engine, so we'll talk about that when we go look at the deck. But yeah, so I was not doing great. Then I fixed up the ratios a little bit. Shout out Pit to Sauce for helping me fix my deck list, and it's looking a lot better now. This is it. So the mistake I made, and I'll just show you here, I was running 42 cards. I was actually running one of each of the individual Horus monsters other than the Black Flame Deity. Now, doing this will heighten your ceiling a little bit because it allows you to get 2 rank 8s in one turn using the Horus engine. My issue with that, however, is that everything other than Imseti and King Sarcophagus is kind of a brick when it comes to the Horus engine. So by removing these cards, you end up with really only 1 Horus card that you don't really want to draw, which is a lot better than having 3 that you don't want to draw in your deck. So after I removed those, I also removed the field spell, actually. I'm not a huge fan of this field spell. I just really didn't like the numbers game with this because you pretty much go minus to do it, and I'm just not a fan of it. So I removed the field spell entirely. I decided, you know what, I don't even want it in my deck. I'm just going to stick to having 3 Imseti and 3 King Sarcophagus. Both of these are solid draws, and then we have the 1 Happy that's kind of a garnet, but really not that bad, especially if you can discard it off of King Sarcophagus. Afterwards, another change I made was add a Lone Fire Blossom, and this was just to give me some extra consistency. Sometimes in Naturia, your hand's going to be a little bit strange, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to add like a 4th copy of Camellia. So yeah, the idea with Lone Fire Blossom is that worst case scenario, I have this normal summon that I can just tribute itself to summon a Camellia from deck and at least set up like a Naturia Beast worst case scenario. So as you can see here, the build is very hand trap heavy. I'm running 2 Nibiru, 3 Imperm, 3 Valor, 3 Ash. It's a super hand trap focused build, and that way we can go second really well. I'll go into the card by card towards the end of the video, but I did kind of want to give you, you know, just a general outlook of what the deck is looking like. And I will say I'm really enjoying this. It's so fun to come back to Naturia after so long of them just not feeling up to snuff. Right now it feels quite good. Again, not tier 1 by any means, but definitely super competent, and I definitely feel like I could make it to Master 1 just playing this. Anyway guys, I have a lot of good replays, so we're going to get into those. After that, we'll probably do live gameplay for at least 1 or 2 duels, and then we'll do the card by card at the end. But before we get into all of that, make sure to hit that like. It helps me tremendously, and if you want to watch more of my videos, you should probably hit the sub button. That also helps quite a bit. It helps you too because you see the videos more. But anyway, let's go. All right, so for this first replay here, I'm just going to show you like a very standard like Naturia thing, you know, like when you see the Naturia engine, but you don't see the Horus cards. And usually when that happens, that means you have a bunch of, oh my God, now they say that. That's pretty interesting. That just means you have a bunch of hand traps, right? So our hand is actually really insane here. 4 hand traps and a Mole Cricket is absolutely incredible. They're going to go Maxx C. Now, thankfully, I did have the Ash Blossom, so we're looking pretty good here. So at this point, we'll just make the chain resolve a bit quicker. Yeah. All right, so we get to summon a Camellia. Camellia will dump the Naturia Sacred Tree, and with Sacred Tree, I'm just going to grab a Naturia Blessing. This is as basic as it gets for this deck. We are playing into Nibiru here, so using our Mole Cricket and our Camellia, we go into Naturia Beast, which now has an animation, by the way, and we get to trigger Mole Cricket in the grave to special summon it because we summoned a Naturia Beast extra deck monster. So at this point, we have Mole Cricket that could like set up a Camellia on opponent's turn. They're going to go for Snake Ash. I'm just going to go Valor on the Snake Ash here, and they're going to go for Wanted. And honestly, against Snake Eyes, like, if you have hand traps and Naturia Beast, you're probably winning. Because, like, what the hell are they supposed to do, man? like half of their extenders are just spells. So yeah, Naturia Beast here kind of going like just soloing the whole duel. And after this resolves, I'm actually going to go for the effect of Mole Cricket. And at this point, I think they just scoop it up. I was about to just set up my Sunflower in the grave, and then if they summoned again, I would have gotten a negate out of it. So yeah, I mean, I just thought that was a pretty good replay, you know, replay against Snake Eyes, which is, you know, no slouch. And it was a very basic board. But again, worst case scenario, usually when you're seeing only your Naturia engine with this deck, it just means you have a bunch of hand traps normally. The worst thing that can really happen is if you see a bunch of Naturia cards in your hand. That's pretty annoying, because then you don't have a lot of like extra interruption, and the basic board that Naturia sets up is not the most impressive. So there's definitely hands that are a bit more iffy, but this was just a really great scenario. So we're going to move on to the next replay against Rescue Ace, and it's a hell of a grind game. All right, so this one is the last game that I played with the deck before starting this video, and I was just waiting to get a longer duel because all my duels were ending super quickly, and they were like super short. So at least with this one, I have a pretty long duel where we can see a lot of the cards interacting here. So we have pretty much everything, and we're going second into Rescue Ace. So they're going to go grab themselves Emergency. They're going to go for Emergency, and we're going to activate our Maxx C here. Now, of course, against Rescue Ace, going Maxx C is not the best thing in the world because they're just going to go for a Turbulence at this point and just set up a bunch of interruption. I will say this guy did make a couple of mistakes, I think, in this matchup, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. So we draw into Camellia, and they're just going to set a couple of cards and just set 2 more and pass. So we know one of these sets is Contain because they only set 3. Actually, we know every single set card that they have because they only set 3 with the Turbulence. So that would mean that every single back row here is a Rescue Ace back row. So I didn't have to think about Imperm really. Well, I mean, they could have set Imperm if they had it also, but you could assume that it was all Rescue Ace back row. So here I'm going to go for my King Sarcophagus, and they're going to chain their rescue. I have Called By, but I know they have Alert, and I know they would just dodge my Called By with Alert, so I didn't want to waste it. So I held on to my Alert here, and we're going to dump our Happy, then we're going to discard our Camellia to dump our Imseti. At this point, I'm summoning my Horus monsters in order to bait out some of their interruption, because I can force all of it out by going for a Zeus play if they don't interrupt the Horus plays. At this point, I can normal summon the Cricket, go Cricket effect, summon 2 monsters. I summon the Camellia and the Sunflower. We dump the Trap. The Trap is going to search me a Naturia Blessing, and then I'm going to go into the Barkion. So the way I feel here is that maybe they just didn't know what Naturia does, or like the Naturia extra deck monsters, but I definitely feel like, for one, they should have very likely negated the Camellia, and if not, at least popped either the Camellia or the Sunflower with the Extinguish, just so I could not get into Barkion. Barkion is not the worst thing ever. It's not super big, and these monsters are going to take care of it pretty easily by battle, but it does add extra pressure if I had more extenders and stuff like that. So that I feel like that was kind of like a misplay, but, you know, that's debatable. Either way here, I get to summon my Mole Cricket since I summoned the Barkion, and I'm going to use my my Naturia Blessing to summon my Camellia. Now I'm going to go for an SP Little Knight. My idea here with Little Knight, and this might not be the best play ever, I was just thinking, like, next turn, they kind of have to go to battle phase and deal with it. Otherwise, if they activate an effect like Exterminate, well, obviously we can negate it. Or if they try to, like, summon a Rescue Ace and go, like, Preventer, target Barkion, at least I can go, like, Little Knight, banish Barkion and one of their cards, and then that way I don't have to worry as much on the follow-up turn, you know? So that was kind of my idea with summoning Little Knight instead of a Naturia Beast. I just felt like a Naturia Beast wasn't really worth it, because if they needed to use spells, they would just beat over the Naturia Beast. So that's why I kind of went for this. I'm going to set a Called By. Now, obviously, the problem with this play is that they can just go to battle and just beat over the Barkion, you know? I was kind of hoping they just wouldn't, but, you know, it is what it is. At this point, they go for Extinguish on the SP Little Knight. I find this to be a huge misplay, because I can just respond with Little Knight and just banish herself and the Preventer from the field here. And then they're going to go for a Hydrant, search a Preventer. Now, at this point, I'm really holding on to my Called By. What I really want to do is I want to Called By the Rescue Ace Turbulence, but I already know that they have Alert set here in the back row. What I'm really waiting for is for them to either use it And if they never use it, then like my called by becomes completely useless. But they go for the field spell here, and I think this play is super, super questionable. So they go for Rescue Ace Headquarters here, then they activate Alert. On activation of Alert, I can chain my called by to banish the Turbulence, which basically removes their ability to use Turbulence, which is going to be a lifesaver, especially since they had the field spell here and they were about to shuffle back all their back row and set it again. So I'm really grateful that they activated Alert and got really greedy with the Alert there. At that point, they're going to go for the Rescue Ace Headquarters, shuffle back a couple of cards and get a draw. They're going to go for Turbulence in hand and banish 2 because they don't know what Called By does. Like, what are you doing in Master Rank? And then they're going to use their second normal summon to summon an Airlifter, Search Emergency. So, I mean, that's totally fine. They're going to go Emergency here. Again, I think this guy's just kind of pressing buttons at this point. But either way, they're going to send the Preventer to the grave to summon from the Banish pile. Maybe that was the idea here. Maybe he just wanted more bodies on the field. Either way, bro doesn't know. Bro doesn't know. But we have this here, this Nibiru. And Nibiru is going to put in a ton of work here. I want to point out, with the Horus engine, Nibiru is kind of insane, right? Because on my own turn, I can just go King Sarcophagus and bring back whatever I sent, like I attributed with the Nibiru. And then in battle phase, the King Sarcophagus has another effect where during the damage step, no, at the start of the damage step, if your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can just send it to the grave. Now, I don't know if that works with a token because it can't be sent to the grave, but I believe because it's not cost, it would activate the effect and then it would just like disappear from the field, basically. I believe that's how that works. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I do find that there's actually a lot of synergy with running Nibiru with the Horus cards, especially just for the bounce back that you get on the follow-up turn thanks to the continuous spell here. But here they're going to go for their original Sinful Spoils, summoning out a Jet Synchron, and they're hoping to link Climb here, but I was just waiting for them to summon from the extra. That way I can summon out my Mole Cricket. They're going to trigger in the grave the Jet Synchron, and I can go Mole Cricket effect, summon a Camellia, and I already have the Sunflower in the grave. So as soon as they summon anything, my Camellia will trigger and will be able to summon from the graveyard my Sunflower. So we go for Camellia, both effects. So first off, we're going to resolve the effect of summoning from grave, and then we're going to go for the first effect to dump the Sacred Tree. Sacred Tree is going to search, going to add a Naturia Blessing, and at this point, they're just going to go for their play, which is Auroradon. They're going to go Auroradon effect, we're going to go Sunflower, and we're going to use the effect of Camellia to not have to tribute and just mill 2 instead. And at that point, well, they pretty much run out of plays, and I believe they scoop it up here, as they should. That was just a really, I think that was a really good back and forth, and I think I played it really well also, so I'm definitely very happy with this showcase for that replay in particular. All right, I've only got 2 more replays to show you, and then we'll get into some more live gameplay stuff. I'll also probably take you to solo mode to show you the Calamity lock, but I just want to show, these are really, really short replays, but I think they're pretty interesting. So this one is just to show you how good the Naturia engine is into Maxx C. It is matchup dependent, but if your opponent is playing a very spell heavy deck, you can play pretty damn well into Maxx C with Naturia. So we're going to grab ourselves, well, we draw into Camellia and we search our Mole Cricket after discarding our trap with the Imseti. And on activation of Mole Cricket, they're going to chain Maxx C. So at that point, it's like, well, okay, fair enough. So we're just going to summon a Camellia. We're going to go Camellia, dump the trap. And I'm just going to grab a second copy of Naturia Blessing. And with just 2 copies of Naturia Blessing, we're doing really, really good here, actually. So we can just pass on Naturia Blessing. My opponent is going to use a Rainbow Bridge, at which point I'm going to go for Naturia Blessing, bring back my Mole Cricket. I probably should have just done this in the draw phase just to have a bit more setup, but I wanted to see if they were playing a trap deck, and I would change my plays accordingly. If they're playing a spell deck, I'm going to get into a Naturia Beast play, and otherwise I could have done something else. But here, basically, we activate the effect of Mole Cricket, then we can use the effect of Camellia. Its second effect allows it to mill 2 cards instead of tributing itself. So what would happen here, basically, is I'm going to go for the second effect of Naturia Blessing. This will allow me to use the effect of Mole Cricket, summon a Sunflower, use the Camellia and the Mole Cricket to make a Naturia Beast with the second effect of Blessing. And then because a Naturia Beast is summoned, so like a Naturia extra deck monster is summoned, my Mole Cricket would trigger and summon from the grave, which would mean that I have like infinite spell negates, and I would get a monster negate. So not the best thing in the world, but when you have that plus a Maxx C in hand, it's actually pretty damn solid. So that's what we go for here. And obviously our opponent just scoops it up because they're playing Crystal Beasts. Moving on to that other small replay, I'm just going to show you how well we can play around SP in Naturia. So this one, again, very, very short one because my opponent gets Maxx C and they just pass on SP. I just wanted to show you an interesting interaction because Naturia is really, really good at playing into SP, which is something you'll be seeing all the time now. Especially SP pass into Maxx C is something you'll be seeing a lot. So, you know, I just wanted to show you how good your deck is at actually dealing with SP. So here they go. They're going to go for triple tactics talent to look at our hand, but our hand is the best hand of all time, so they don't really have a good card to remove here. They remove the Foolish Burial Goods. It's fine. Either way, we draw into Mole Cricket, and this is what I want to say. Mole Cricket is absolutely broken into SP Little Knight because you normal summon Mole Cricket, and then if they choose, well, basically, they can't activate the SP Little Knight until you activate an effect. But when you activate Mole Cricket, since it tributes itself as cost, the SP has no target. And then because SP has way more attack than Mole Cricket, you get the effect to summon 2 monsters. So you can just summon a Camellia and a Sunflower from your deck. So then you have a monster negate. At that point, you can go Camellia effect to dump the trap. And you can just combo off while having a monster negate, which will make it so they just can't really use the SP Little Knight at all. So yeah, just having Mole Cricket into SP is absolutely insane. My opponent figured this out very quickly because as soon as I activated Mole Cricket and they couldn't activate their SP, they just scooped it up, right? So I just think that's a really neat interaction. Again, tiny replay. Just thought it was really worth mentioning. And now we're going to go to solo mode. I just want to show you, if you missed my other video on Naturia, just how easy it is to do a Calamity lock. I haven't had a chance to do it in ladder, so I'm just going to show you in solo mode. All right, so we're going to be going first here. All we really need is to see both our Naturia engine and the Horus engine. Yeah, this is such a silly hand. This does it, though. This does do the Calamity lock, so I'll just show you. It's very, very simple. So, you know, we would go for a Mole Cricket, activate the Mole Cricket, and I'm not even going to say that this is the optimal play with this hand. I feel like usually if you're doing this line, it's because you have the Imseti, but this is just, it's fine. It's a fine way to do it, so we're just going to do it. Summon the Camellia at this point. Then we go for Camellia, dump the trap, the Sacred Tree. And we get a bit more than just a Calamity lock with this. I do want to point that out. So here we grab a Naturia Blessing, right? And at this point, we can go for King's Sarcophagus. And we are going to discard 2 to send 2 in this scenario. This is kind of why I think having Imseti is better, because then you only have to discard 1 with your King's Sarcophagus because Imseti is already in the grave from discarding itself. But still, it's totally fine. So we do this. We send the Happy. And then we do it again. And we're going to discard one of our Maxx Cs. And there we go. We send the Imseti. So, very, very simple here. Special summon the Imseti from your grave. And use these two. Make yourself a Crimson Dragon. And we are running a card that Crimson Dragon searches here. And it's actually a pretty important part of our line. Because here we go with Crimson Dragon. We can trigger its effect on summon to search. And we're going to search the Synchro Rumble. And let me show you why this is so important. Basically, what this means is you get to keep the Naturia Blessing so you can set up 2 monster negates on your opponent's turn, which is very, very important. So at this point, what we can do is we can just special summon from our grave the Happy, like so. And we can go for Synchro Rumble. Synchro Rumble will special summon a tuner from our grave, but we're locked into Synchro Summoning for the rest of the turn. But we summon this here, and with these 2, we make ourselves a Masurawo. Just like so. And obviously, this combo does play into Nibiru, and that's pretty much the reason why I haven't done it very much. It's a really cool combo line, but playing into Nibiru is pretty risky, and oftentimes I'll try to kind of not play into it if I can. At this point, we have this set up, and we just set the Naturia Blessing. Or you could have set it earlier in case your opponent went Nibiru, so that you would get some draws off of your Masurawo. But yeah, so set the Blessing and just pass turn here. So on opponent's turn, basically, as soon as they draw, you can go for the Blessing to special summon a Naturia monster from your grave. We would special summon the Camellia here. And Camellia will just dump the Sunflower. There we go. And on resolution of all this, we can go for Crimson Dragon and target our Masurawo and just Calamity lock the opponent, just like that. So at this point, I mean, obviously they're not going to use monster effects, right? So yeah, that's basically it at this point. If they summon a monster like so, we'll get to go for the Camellia effect and bring back the Sunflower from the grave. and now we have 2 monster negates. Is that the most valuable thing in the world? No, but it's pretty useful to have access to it in case your opponent were to interrupt your Calamity line. For example, they could just imperm your Crimson Dragon, and at that point, you're going to be very grateful that you have access to 2 monster negates that you can use during your opponent's turn. But yeah, at this point, I mean, they're just going to swing over my Camellia. Not a really big loss, really, because we just have, like, so much damage on board and they can't activate anything. I guess I can show you how easy it is to go for a game with this deck. Yeah, so randomly, you can just summon back your Horus on turn 3. And yeah, the amount of damage you get on board with the Horus cards on turn 3 is so terrifying. It's so easy to just go for game on turn 3 thanks to this engine. So I really appreciate that as well, you know. Naturia has a lot of really small bodies, so just being able to do that. I should have left this guy in defense. I completely forgot how he works, but whatever. But yeah, Naturia is kind of known for having very small bodies, so having access to this engine that just spams massive bodies and goes for games super quickly is super helpful. So again, I absolutely love this build. I think it's super awesome. The last thing we can do really is go get some live gameplay, so we'll go try to get a game in ladder and see how it goes. All right, so here we go. Hopefully we get the coin flip. If we don't, it's not the end of the world because we run so many hand traps. We'll just have to see some of them and we'll be okay. So let's see here. All right. Gotta see the hand traps, though. We really gotta see them. All right, let's see what we get. Ooh, love to see it. I'm gonna keep my chinning off by right-clicking here. Just don't want to let my opponent know I have Maxx C until they have a monster on the field. I play around Gamma now, because anything I don't play around, I get punished by in this freaking game, I swear. Where are they playing? All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'll give you 1 summon. I'll give you 1 summon. All right, going for the Hydrant here. That's cool. And putting the Poplar in the back row. They're playing the pile version. 60 card or Rescue Ace, Snake Eyes. This deck has a ton of gas. They still have their normal summon, so they're definitely going to normal summon Airlifter. Probably... Oh, hold on. Are they going to go for original first? Oh, I really hope they do. That would be really funny. Oh, wow, they are. I mean, they might just have Ash, honestly. They always have it. 60 pile, they'll definitely have it, right? They'll definitely have it at 60 pile, right? They always have it, bro. Yeah, of course. Of course you do. Oh, wait. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, hold on. I mean, they still get Turbulence here, right? So that's still, like, annoying. They might decide to just, like, stop playing. Like, it would be pretty smart to just go Turbulence, set 4. You have the Hydrant on the field. So you give me, like, 1 draw and you just stop playing. That'd be a totally respectable line to go for here. Thankfully, the King Sarcophagus is pretty good against the Rescue Ace deck, just because Rescue Ace doesn't have a lot of things to deal with the back row. Oh, wow, you're going for a Baron here. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Whoa, that's actually kind of scary here. I'm not gonna lie. How do we bait out Baron? I feel like it would have to be King Sarcophagus. They went for Rescue, Alert, Contain, Extinguish. Even Rescue is kind of crazy when they have a Hydrant on the field. I'm not gonna lie. Man, this deck plays so well into Maxx C. It's actually crazy. So going for a Baron here. Yep, makes total sense. Total sense. Okay, not the best draw. Would have preferred an Imperm, but whatever. There's no way you extend here, bro. Oh, going for Alert right now. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so grab Airlifter. That's totally fine. We don't have much that we can do, though. All right, so they have Rescue, and they have the 2 traps. We have a couple problems here. Imseti is a really good draw. That does help a lot. I don't think that's going to bait out Baron, but it could definitely help. We're going to go for Imseti, discard both it and the Happy here. Discard these 2. I don't... Oh, wow, they do. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, that does a lot. That does a lot for me. Okay. Okay, so they'll never expect it. We're just going to go for Foolish Burial right now. Foolish Burial goods. Dump the Sacred Tree. Yeah. And we're going to grab a Blessing. Yeah. That way, we can dodge one of their traps with Blessing and just go straight into our trap negate. Next up, I'm going to go... No, we're going to go straight for this, I think. Yeah, so we're going to go Mole Cricket here. If they have Ash, we do kind of lose to Ash. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like if they had Ash, they would have negated Maxx C, so they probably don't. So we're going to go Mole Cricket here. Okay, perfect. And we summon these 2. Massive, massive. This is going to be so helpful. Okay. Now we can go Camellia effect. And they might want to stop this. If they go for the negate, we're fine. They go for the Extinguish. Yeah, now that I think about it, it's not even that good because their Contain will stop me from using my Camellia as material. All right, no, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to go for it. At least we force both of them out, and then we can go into our Sarcophagus plays and just set up a big Zeus play. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. So it can't be used as material, and that's it. That ends there, pretty much. At that point, we can go for our King Sarcophagus. And I just need to summon Happy first. If they aim for... Okay, they didn't go for Happy. Maybe they didn't know that they don't activate in the grave. The Horus cards actually don't activate. They just special summon themselves, kind of like Lubellion. So now that they... Okay, that's awesome. They didn't even bother with the rescue. Kind of a bad play, in my opinion, to not bother. Let's see. Yeah, that's massive. I kind of want to just go for the Zeus line here. Actually, I think I have lethal. Yeah, I do. Guys, let me show you our Zeus package. It's actually insane. So we're going to use the Happy as well as the Imseti here. I can't believe that they didn't use their rescue. This is so massive. So we can go into our Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. Oh, wait, we're going to lose to Nibiru here. Well, not really. Not really. Nibiru would be tough, but I think it puts us in a decent position if they go for Nibiru. All right, go to battle. It might just be their rescue proccing also. Yeah, it's probably just their rescue. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, if you had Preventer in there, maybe that would have been good, but you don't. So this is totally cool with me. Yeah. We have no reason to do this. This is if they're leave the card by card effect only, right? That's fine. So in battle phase, we get the effect of our Neo, Galaxy Eyes, Photon, Prime, whatever. And I get to make 3 attacks on monsters during this battle phase. So we're going to swing into this. Oh, no, they dodge lethal. Okay, I see how it is. I see how it is. That makes sense. They do dodge lethal here. Yeah, because they forced me to swing into Turbulence. Okay. Pretty smart, pretty smart. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even think of the battle protection thing. Pretty smart. All right, that's fine. I mean, Baron is already used. Yeah, man, I wish I thought of that. At that point, I would have been better off keeping the material. I thought I had lethal. I did not. That's a big misplay on my part to forget about the battle protection on the hydrant there. If they go for the summon with Baron, we will get our monster negates. So I think I can just pass on the Zeus here. And I think that's going to put me in a much better position than to use it early. Yeah. Because when they go Baron, we get to summon our Sunflower. So... And if they don't, well, then we just Zeus in battle phase, and it is what it is, you know? And yeah, other than that, I think we're good here. No, they're going for the standby phase effect. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad to see that. They are going to get their Airlifter effect here if they go for the Airlifter, which is what I'm expecting. Oh, they're going for the Poplar. Ooh, interesting. If they go for Sinful Spoils of Subversion, that's going to be super, super annoying. No, it doesn't matter because we're just gonna Veiler. Yeah, it's fine. We're just gonna Veiler the Poplar here so they don't get Subversion. Yeah, because Subversion would be super annoying. So, oh, we can't Veiler because it's not. Oh, yeah, we can't. Ouch. Tough. That's tough. That's really frustrating. Well, we're gonna grab Sunflower regardless. Perhaps with the Sunflower and the Veiler, we'll do decent here. Yeah, because they're gonna subvert the Zeus. And I'm really not convinced that, yeah, I really don't think activating Zeus in this board state is good. So good on them. That was smart. What are you going to target with this? Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I'm not doing anything about that. That's fine. I really don't think it's worth wiping my own board away. I think Veiler plus 2 monster negates could do a lot for us here. Depends on their hand, though. Okay, so here's Airlifter. Yeah. So first things first, we're already just going to Sunflower, like shotgun Sunflower here. And we're going to use Camellia to mill 2. So negate and destroy Airlifter. That's already a big deal. So normal summon is gone. That's pretty important. Then they're going to go for Jet Synchron. Discarding the Flamberge. Oh. Okay. They get to summon 2 level 1 fires from the grave. But the Jet Synchron will get summoned, and they will only have 1 level 1 fire left in the graveyard. Really, we have to let this go through, I believe. Yeah. Pretty smart, though. Pretty smart, I'm not going to lie. That's kind of scary. I completely forgot about that Jet Synchron. Interesting matchup so far. Definitely an interesting duel that we have going on here. Just waiting on their next play. Just waiting to see what else they have in store for us. I'm feeling a Link 2 that's just going to beat over my Sunflower. That would be super annoying, but that's probably what's about to happen. Or beat over Camellia. Okay, going for these Sinful Spoils to shuffle back the Flamberge and get a search. Pretty good. Pretty good. Definitely scary. They already use their normal summon, and I don't think they have another Poplar. They're going for Divine Carnage. That is terrifying. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, Divine Carnage is crazy here. Yeah. That's a big problem. Big problem. Okay. If they try to go to battle phase, we'll have to waste our Veiler on that, unfortunately. But I'm kind of hoping that they just go for the Promethean Princess here. Be a pretty good play since they don't have lethal. Going for Formula Synchron. That's fine. All of this is fine. Putting Hydrant in the back row is clever. We will get to summon Mole Cricket here, which is a pretty big deal. Even though we don't have Sunflower anymore in the deck, at least we get to protect our life points. Man, crazy, crazy duel we've got going on here. Oh yeah, emergency graveyard effect. Makes sense. Setting the contain here. Pretty good. They can't activate it this turn, because that's not how that works. So do I want to take the 45 or do I want the resources in the deck? Yeah, the fact that they already use their normal summon makes me feel a bit safer to do this. I think I go Veiler on the Divine Carnage. And then I go Mole Cricket. Because, like, for me, it's just the end phase summon that they're probably aiming for with Divine Carnage here. I don't want to see that happen. Yeah, that's... You see, like, Ash on Mole Cricket here, I'm not too mad about. Like, I can live with that. I can live with that. For me, it's just the special summon from Grave on end phase. I was really not trying to get hit by that on the Divine Carnage. Maybe that was a misplay. Maybe I should have just taken the damage since they don't have lethal. We'll see by the end of the duel. All right, so using these two to make SP. That's kind of to be expected here. So they have Contain, but Contain, if they might not know this, but Contain is not live if they don't control any Rescue Ace monsters. They still need a Rescue Ace monster on the field. Oh, yeah, the banish of SP there is pretty crazy. Damn. Wait, that changes everything. That changes a lot. Holy moly. So I need to not activate an effect, right? Either that or... I'm just thinking, because I could go Blessing right now. They can't activate this. They have to target 2 face-up monsters, and it has to be in response to an effect. I think we do that, actually. We're going to go Blessing. Oh, even then, actually, this is even better than I thought, because I just summoned the Sunflower. I'm pretty sure they can't use their trap card because they don't control a Rescue Ace monster. Like, Hydrant counts as being Hydrant face-up on the field, but it doesn't count as having a Rescue Ace monster face up on the field. They need both a Rescue Ace here and the Hydrant in the back row to get to activate the full effects of this. So I don't think they know that. Here we can go Camellia, because if they respond with SP, we'll just negate and destroy, right? So it doesn't matter. Then we can go for Sacred Tree. Sacred Tree, we'll grab from our deck a Mole Cricket. Perfect. Do a little bit of deck thinning, right? While we're at it. And at this point... I'm feeling... Yeah, I think Barkion here better than nothing. We also get to summon Mole Cricket back from the graveyard. Actually, no, we don't want to do that because then they would get to banish our Barkion. We need to go to battle. Oh, and we had lethal. Bro, am I dumb? Like, we had lethal. Of course. I forgot how low my opponent's life points were. That was a crazy duel. Oh, man, that took like 17 minutes. I wonder if I can even fit that in the video. I'll try. All right, time for the card by card. No BS. I know what you guys are looking for. So look, we have 3 Veiler, 3 copies of Mole Cricket, 1 copy of Sunflower. You can run a second one if you really don't want to brick on it, but that just means you'll brick on it more often. So it's a tough balancing act. You hate seeing this card in hand unless you have access to the King Sarcophagus to dump it from hand. Pretty annoying, but it is just the reality of playing Naturia. 3 copies of Maxx C, of course. 1 Lone Fire Blossom. This is just an extra Camellia. Kind of a weird tech. I haven't really seen many people do this, but I mean, it works. You go Lone Fire, you summon the Camellia, and then you play Camellia, and you know, you get a couple in Naturia plays from there. So I like it, but it might be weird. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, the 3 Camellia, obviously. 3 Imseti, this is the best Horus card. Then we have 1 copy of Happy, double Nibiru, 1 copy of Foolish Burial Goods to dump the Sacred Tree, 1 copy of the Synchro Rumble, which you can search with the Crimson Dragon. I already explained this earlier. 3 copies of the Sarcophagus. This is the second best Horus card and the most important one, debatably. 2 copies of Called By, of course, 1 copy of Crossout, 2 copies of Blessing, triple Imperm, and 3 of the Sacred Tree Trap, just so we can get lucky and draw it with Sarcophagus at times to discard it and go super plus, you know? In the extra deck, we're looking at Naturia Beast and Barkion, as well as the Stardust Charge Warrior, so that we can, like, you know, Blessing, bring back our Camellia and make Baron when you need it. 1 copy of our Calamity, Royal Calamity, by the way. I've got my Blazer, just in case, you know, sometimes going for the Calamity just isn't worth it, especially if they shotgun Imperm on your Crimson Dragon. If you chain Crimson Dragon and you summon Calamity, Calamity will miss timing. So if that happens, you want to chain it and summon the Blazer Dragon instead. We have 1 copy of Masurawa. This is just a good card, man. The 3 draws are really useful. Very, very good. Also, when you get Nibiru and you get 3 draws, that can help a lot with extending your plays, especially if you have access to a couple of Naturia Blessings. It can really, really help. For the XCs, we have a really cool Zeus package here and very expensive as well. So if you guys don't want to craft this, you really don't need to. So basically, the package is Photon Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, and then you use him and you overlay the Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. And this card, even on its own, can go for lethal pretty often. You know, you just detach a material and it can swing 3 times and just go for game instantly. So definitely a super scary card in its own right. And if not, well, you can just use it to swing and make a 4 material Zeus, which is obviously super valuable to have. Then we, of course, have the Photon Lord. This is your play around Nibiru. So if you get 2 level 8s on the field early, you can make a Photon Lord and then go on with your Naturia plays and not have to worry about Nibiru. So it's pretty nice. Zombie Vampire. This is a very good last resort sort of option. If you're kind of bricked on just Horus and hand traps, you can use the Zombie Vampire to give you a chance to get into Naturia plays by milling some cards from your deck, and you can potentially mill a Sacred Tree, which will let you get into your Naturia plays, or you can mill like a Camellia or a Mole Cricket, which you can then summon with the effect of the Vampire Lord and use it to, you know, like get into your Naturia plays. Then for the links, we have 1 SP Little Knight and a very experimental IP. This is absolutely a flex spot. You can absolutely replace this with really any card you like any card you want to replace this with. Feel free. If it's a second SP, that's fine. I have never summoned IP in this deck once. I've summoned SP a couple of times. Not once have I summoned IP. I'm just not really sure what to put here. And I kind of like the idea that if ever I need the removal effect of Little Knight, at least I can do it with IP. Or if I really want to, I can pass on IP if I get, you know, extra extenders and stuff like that, and I just have a lot of bodies on the field. And then on opponent's turn, make SP and get that removal effect of being summoned using a Link monster as material. So that's about it for the extra deck and for the deck in general. I will say, I know this Zeus package is really expensive. You guys do not have to run this package. You can just run Zeus as is and, you know, make it a 2 material Zeus, well, a 3 material Zeus, and that's totally fine as well. And, you know, at that point, you can run the Coach. This is a cheaper card that you can run. This will get you some draws. You need 3 level 8s though, so you can't really make it in this build because you'll need to run a 3rd Horus. And this is a pretty good card, you know. It'll get you 3 draws in your turn, which is pretty nice. You don't get a battle phase the turn you activate this, but, you know, it's kind of good to be able to draw deeper into your deck, so that's a good option. If you have Dingirsu, that's another good one. Really, like, yeah, so in the non-UR ones, like, this is a pretty good option. Sun Dragon, Overlord of Heliopolis. It's pretty generic removal. It can be really useful. Of course, you have to tribute a lot of cards to use it, but sometimes this can just close out a game, so it's definitely a solid option. There's a lot of space for creativity in the extra deck. I just really, really like that Photon package personally, so I'm just going to keep running it. It's come up for me multiple times, and it's been really, really good to me, so I'm sticking to that package. That's it for the deck profile, though. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it, if it was helpful, if you're interested in trying it. And let me know what crazy Horus builds you guys are making. I know there's so many Horus decks that you can make right now. It's actually so awesome. So I'd really love to hear about your guys' strategies in the comments. And yeah, that's it for me. So, peace.